Well, the last 2 months have been disappointing to say the least. Hello friends, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm doing yet another bi-monthly wrap-up video, and it's actually the last one of 2019. So there's that. And I did bad these last 2 months. I did bad. I only read 2 books, one each month. So this is gonna be a rather short video, nice and sweet and simple, but we're here to talk about them anyways, you know? So let's just dive right on it. First, a quick mention to my current read, which is The Wicked King by Holly Black. Originally, I wanted to finish the Falcover trilogy, I think it's called, in 2019. Hopefully I can still do that. Who knows? But I'm currently reading the second book in the trilogy and I'm really loving it so far, so I can imagine I'll give it a good rating because I gave the first one like a 4.5 out of 5 stars, which I loved. And this book so far is just diving into a whole bunch of similar things of why I'm loving it so much. I don't really want to say too much because it's the second book, so I'll spoil it if I do, but I am really liking it so far, so stay tuned for a wrap up in the new year to see what I actually think about it. But jumping onto the huge master list of things that I have read in the last couple months. The first one being Shadow Frost by Kokuma. I actually had the great opportunity to meet Kokuma a couple weeks ago, so you can check the video out here if you want to learn more about that. But I actually loved this book a whole lot and give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The story kind of follows this magical city country thing where there's a queen ruling and her daughter, the princess, has these great magical abilities, and something in their world seems to be like destroying cities and killing a whole bunch of people, and so the princess ends up going on this adventure with some of her friends and guards to try to defeat this magical thing. Now, I know that doesn't really sound that interesting, but look up the synopsis. It does a better job at describing it than I did, but it was a really fun read, and that's one of the reasons I gave this book such a good rating, is because it was the first time in a long time where I actually found reading fun. And so if you watched one of my last wrap-up videos, you know that I haven't really been reading too much these last couple months just because I just can't find the time or like to care about reading and like prioritize reading over like working or studying or hanging out with friends and that kind of thing. But this was the first time in a while where I read a book in less than 2 days and really had fun reading it. And so I read the first quarter of this book via audiobook and then the rest as the physical copy, and read the last third of the book in like 5 hours and 6 hours, just kind of sat down and dedicated myself to it, and boy was it worth it. I had such a good time reading it. The characters were well written, the plot was really interesting, and the way everything happened in the end was kind of like, oh my god, like it was crazy. It had that nice climax we're all just waiting for it to happen, and it's the first in a trilogy, and so I'm really excited for the next couple books to come out because I know I'm gonna read them and just be really excited for them. Anyways, I really enjoyed this book, and like I said, check out that video I mentioned because I talk more about the whole book in there, but I really loved it and just had such a good time reading it. And the second and final book I read in the last 2 months is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Now, I give this book a 3 out of 5 stars, and I enjoyed it. Like, I had to read this book for my English class, hence you can see some annotations here, and I liked reading it. It was this good story, but it just wasn't something I would necessarily read on my own time. That's why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Not to say it's bad or anything, but like, it was a solid book. And that's about it. I think there's a lot of things I would recommend before this book or reread before this book, so that's why I gave it that rating. But the characters and plot and writing is really strong, and it really dives into some themes and writes the story just really well. We kind of follow this family 50 years ago, and their daughter has recently died, and they find her body in a lake, and they don't know why she killed herself or if someone killed her and drowned her in a lake. They don't know why, and then the whole book kind of dives into the backstory and everything that happened to each of the family members to try to lead up to what actually happened to Lydia, the daughter that died. And so the concept is really cool, and the execution of the plot is actually really well done as well. I just gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because it wasn't necessarily like the perfect book for me, but it was really well written, and if you're thinking about reading this book, I think you would really enjoy it if the concept sounds good to you and you've been thinking about reading it, because it is really well written. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of the whole video I have for you guys today, because I haven't read that much in the last couple months. Don't really know how else to say it. If you liked this very long wrap-up video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below if you've read any of the 3 books that I mentioned in this whole video. I will try not to be such a disappointment in my next wrap-up video, but I will see you soon in a new video. So until then, bye.